This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we have seen about the Eclipse IDE, how to develop Java application using Eclipse IDE, and we have started with the basics part, and where we have seen about the meaning of keywords, variables, and data types, right? So we have seen the table also for primitive data types. In Java, we are in totally 8 primitive data types. Yeah. Hello, Vishwant. Yeah, hi. Right. So in Java, we are in totally 8 primitive data types. Now, so today let us move to the next one, typecasting. The meaning of this typecasting is converting from one data type to other data type. You can select converting from one primitive type into another primitive type, or one reference type into another reference type is called as typecasting. So converting primitive to primitive or reference to reference. We are in two types of casting. One is implicit casting and one more is explicit casting. Implicit and explicit. Now let us initially see about implicit. Implicit means automatically. We need not do anything, it automatically converts. When it automatically converts is when you are trying to converting lower data type into higher data type. Converting lower data type into higher data type. How to know which is lower and how to know which is higher? By seeing the table here. See, the sizes are important. So by seeing this table, we can say byte is lower than integer, because byte occupies 1 byte, integer 4 bytes. So we have to see the sizes here. Integer is lower than long. Okay, short is lower than double, like this. We have to see the sizes. Like example, if you take an integer variable whose value is 100, and if you are trying to assign to long, so the conversion will happen automatically for us, because integer occupies 4 bytes, long occupies 8 bytes, so automatic conversion will happen. Now if you print the value of x, the value of x will be 100. One more example. If you take a short s equal to some 35, and if you are trying to assign to double, the short value assign to double, now if you print the value of d, it will be 35.0. It is going to add the decimal point dot 0. Since short is smaller than double, we can directly assign it. One more good example. If you take a character c equal to capital A, and if you are trying to assign to integer, then character is 2 bytes, integer is 4 bytes. So the assignment will happen, the conversion will happen. Now if you print the value of n, can you guess what will be the value of n?
ASCII value of C.
Yeah. ASCII value of A, that is capital A, that is 65. It's going to display 65. This we call it as Unicode. Unicode of character A. This is what here, Unicode of character A. Now, Unicode or ASCII code, both the meanings are same. Let me just elaborate more on this. When you take the programming languages like C or C++, supports ASCII codes. C or C++ supports what? ASCII codes. And we are having ASCII codes 256 symbols. In ASCII codes, we are having 256 symbols. Whereas coming to Java, .NET, PHP, Python supports Unicodes, and we are having totally 65536 symbols. In the case of Unicodes, we are having 65536 symbols. And whatever the ASCII codes we are having, that code will remain same for Unicode also. So if you say 65, we can say this 65 of character A is either you can say ASCII code or Unicode. Both the meanings are same. So you can select ASCII codes are subset of Unicodes. ASCII codes are what? Subset of Unicodes. Coming to explicit casting. So this is reverse way, converting higher data type into lower data type. So like example, if you take a long x equal to 100, and if you are trying to assign to integer, since long is higher than integer, this will go with error. We cannot do direct assignment. But our requirement is we want to convert long to integer. Then how to do that one is, you can say int n equal to, in parenthesis we have to provide what type you want to convert and say x. So mentioning like this, what type you want to convert, that mentioning like this is only we call explicit casting. Now if you print the value of n, it will be 100. One more example. If you take a double d equal to 45.5 and we want to assign to byte, this will go with error because double is higher than byte. But our requirement is to convert, then you can say byte b equal to, in parenthesis we should write byte and say d. Now what will be the value of b will be? Can you guess what is the value of b? It is 45 only, right? It will take only the decimal part. It takes only decimal part. Fraction part is ignored. Then one more example. If you take integer n equal to 65 and if you are trying to assign to character, goes with error. And our requirement is to convert, then you can say in parenthesis character n. Then now the value of c will be capital A. One more very good example. If you take a float f equal to 3.14. In float, can we store a value with a decimal point?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, right? But in Java, this will go with error. This is an error in Java. The reason is, in Java, a value with a decimal point. In Java, a value with a decimal point is treated as double type. So this is double type here. Since double is higher than float, I cannot assign. So what is the meaning here? It's going to error here because since in Java, a value with a decimal point is double type. It's what type here? Double type. That's the reason it is going with error. Then how to give value to float? You can say float f equal to, you can go with the typecasting float and say 3.14, or you can say float f equal to 3.14 end with either small f or capital F. That's the reason when you are giving the value to float in Java, we have to end with either capital F or small f. Clear up to here, all of you?
Yes.
Right? Any questions, anyone?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Rajdeep.
Yeah, sir. Is it possible to convert from float to character?
Float to character?
Yeah.
Let us check it. Even also I'm having doubt, let us check it. But how to check this? How to check? So in order to check, what I should do, I have to create a class with main method inside, write the code, run the program, right?
Okay.
So these many steps we have to do. But Java has given one tool for us, and that tool we call it as JShell tool. We are having one tool, what? JShell tool. So this JShell tool is added in Java 9 version. In which version we got this tool? Java 9 version. And the use of this tool is, JShell tool is used to execute the Java statements. It is used to execute the Java statements, or you can say JShell is an interactive tool. Used to execute the Java statements. Okay. How to open JShell? To open JShell, what we have to do is we have to open command prompt first. Open command prompt. Once we open command prompt, we have to just use the command jshell. That's it. Either open command prompt or terminal, use the command jshell. Then it is going to show the jshell prompt to us. Then here, whatever the Java statement you want to type, you can type. You can say system.out.println welcome. Then this welcome will get displayed for us. Let me show practically now. So open command prompt. Then use the command what here, jshell. Then it is going to show the jshell prompt to us. Now here you can type the Java statements, like example system.out.println, then the message in double quotes. So we get welcome onto the screen. Now I want to show about default values. Yesterday we discussed about default values. So what is the default value for integer? 0. What is the default value for double? 0.0. What's the default value for boolean? False. What's the default value for string? Null. Any reference type? Null. Coming to typecasting, if I take integer n equal to 100, I want to convert into long. So the conversion will happen automatically. If you take a short and I want to convert into double, then the value of d will be 35.0. If you take a character c equal to capital A and I want to convert into integer, then the value of c is 65. Sorry, n is 65. Then coming to explicit casting, if you take long x equal to 100 and if you are trying to convert into integer, goes with error. It says possible loss of conversion from long to integer. Then how to convert? You can say int n equal to, in parentheses you can say int and say x. Now the value of n will be 100. If you take double d equal to 45.5 and I want to convert into byte, then it will go with error. Then how to convert? You can say byte b equal to, in parentheses provide byte and say d. Now the value of b will be 45. Takes only decimal part. If you take integer n equal to 65 and if you want to convert into character, what we have to say here? Character of n. Then the value of c will be capital A. Now float f equal to 3.14. See, it goes with error. See the message, possible loss of conversion from double to float. A value with a decimal point in Java is treated as double type. Then how to give value to float? End with either small f or capital F. Yeah, Rajdeep, your question. What you asked? I want to convert
Float to char.
Float to char. So I'm having a float f equal to some 65.0, right? Example. Now I want to convert. See here, of course, we have to end with what? Small f. Now I want to convert into character. C equal to f. It will go with error. Then how to convert? Character c equal to, you can see here character and say f. And see, we are getting same capital A. No problem at all. Okay. So this is the very easy tool to check whatever the small doubts we are getting. If you are unable to remember or if you are getting confused, you can just open jshell tool and you can check your doubts here very easily. Got it everyone about jshell tool?
Yeah.
Right? It's not for developing bigger applications. It's only for learning purpose. So when you are learning, if you are having some small doubts, you can clarify that at jshell tool. And how to come out of jshell tool? Simply you can say /exit. Then it's going to come out of jshell tool. Yes, Rajdeep.
Yeah, sir. Like, what if we provide the value of float or integer which is out of range of ASCII? Then what will be the output for the char?
Out of range for ASCII means, let me take one small example to you. Okay, like in byte, what is the range of byte?
128
minus 128 to 127. Just remember one small formula. Byte b equal to, or if you take something like integer n equal to minus 65, right?
Mhm.
Okay, we have come out of JShell, right?
Yeah.
Now if I say int n equal to -65 and I want to convert into character, right? If you are having a negative value. There. So for -65 it is going with question mark symbol. Okay. How
So
it goes to
each,
that question mark symbol? Because ASCII codes are all positive numbers only, right?
yeah.
Okay, how it goes. So for that, let me take one simple example case here. Like, because it's easy to understand if I say byte, because we know the range of byte, that is -128 to 127. So if you say byte b equal to 128, okay, then it will take, does it have range here? Because range is minus 128 to 127 only, but I'm giving 128. Then what it is going to become, see?
Okay. We have to
Okay,
convert.
it's unable to convert here. So if I say now byte b equal to byte of 128, then see, it's going to reverse side here, -128 it is becoming. Then let me take here 129. Then what will be the value now? -127.
127.
130 means it will become -126. Clear now? It will like a circle. It will become like a circle. Once you cross the range, it will go to the next value. It will start again with negative value. Got
Okay,
it?
so like even though if we assign like 1000 or 2000 to integer, and if we convert to character, like it will go to that corresponding value,
Respective
like
range.
plus
Yeah,
or minus.
corresponding range. Yeah. Once you cross the
Oh,
range, again it will start with negative values again.
okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. To exit JShell, at your JShell prompt, use the command /exit. Okay. So this is the basic introduction, and whenever you get some doubt, you can make use of JShell. Now, let us move to the next topic today. Scanner class. Scan means like read. Scanner class is a predefined class. It's a predefined class and added in Java 5 version. In which version we got this? Java 5 version. The main use of going for scanner class is scanner class is used to read the values into the variables. Scanner class is used for what purpose? To read the values into the variables from keyboard during program execution. Means runtime. When you run the program, at that time, if I want to give value to the variables, then we go for scanner class. Simple. Let me take here. If I say int n equal to 10, who is giving value to n variable here? Programmer or user?
Programmer.
Programmer, right? Who is giving value to n here? Programmer. Now I want to take the value to n when I'm running the code. The user want to give value to the variable, to this variable. The user want to give value. Like simple examples of user data is like, if you take Gmail, we get username password. Who is going to type that username password? User, end user. If you go to ATM machine, you can, who is going to fill the PIN number and amount? User, right? That is called as user data. When the application is running, at that time I want to provide some data to the program from the user end. In that case, we go for scanner class. Clear everyone? This is similar to scanf of C language. One small confusion point at this level. Scanner class is present in java.util package. The meaning of package is like a folder concept only. Why we create folders? To store related files. Similar way, package is also to store related classes. It's like a folder concept only. Now, so since scanner class is present in java.util package, whenever we want to use scanner class in our program, we should write one statement above the class, that is like this: import java.util.scanner. Then only we can use scanner class in our program. Import is like take it, go to the folder Java, under that subfolder util, under that take the scanner class and use it in our program. That's the meaning of import. How to create this package, how to import these all things I'll discuss once again when we come to object-oriented programming. For now, like a muggup, you remember, whenever I want to use scanner class, I should write import java.util.scanner above the classes. Okay, like a muggup, you remember now. Then, whenever you take a class contains some methods. If I want to access the methods of scanner class, or if I want to access the methods of a class, what we need to create?
Object.
Very good. We need to create what? Object. By using object only, we can access the members of the class. Similar way, if I want to access the methods of scanner class, we need to create object of scanner class. See here, creating scanner class object. How to create scanner class object is very simple. Class name scanner, some object name equal to new class name. Already we have seen this. Person P equal to new person. Similar way, scanner S equal to new scanner. Then, since we are going to read the input from keyboard, so the scanner class object should connect to keyboard. How to connect to keyboard is, in between this parenthesis, you can pass system.in. System.out means monitor. System.in means keyboard. System.in represents keyboard. Now let us see the methods of scanner class. In scanner class, we are having some of the methods like next int. Whenever we say method, we end with parenthesis. And how to remember case sensitivity of method? How to remember the case sensitivity of methods is first letter of first word is small. First letter of first word is small and the remaining words first letter is capital. And the use of next int method is used to read an integer value. The next long. By seeing the method, we can easily say use it to read a long value. Next float. Use it to read a float value. Next double. Use it to read a double value. Then like that we are having next byte, next short also. Then simple method next. Use it to read a string value without spaces. No spaces in that string value. Then if I want to go with space, we have to call the method next line. Use it to read a string value with the spaces. Like example, if you write the code like this, int n equal to 10, then who is giving value to n variable here? Programmer. But I want to take the value of n variable from the user end. Then which method is used to read integer value?
Next int.
Next int. So call the method next int. Then next int is a method belongs to which class?
Scanner.
Scanner class. Means these all methods we can invoke only by using object of scanner class. So we have to call this method using scanner class object with dot operator. That's the reason whenever you want to access these methods of scanner class, we have to create object of class. Whatever the object name you want to use, you can use XYZ. Now by using that object only, we can call the method. Now if I go with a double, d equal to which method? S dot next double. Based on the data type, we should call the method string name equal to s dot next or next line. Okay, so we'll write some example programs. So once we write some examples, then this concept will be very simple for you. Let us start off with our first example program here. Write a program. Now onwards I'll write WAP to find area of a rectangle. In order to find area of a rectangle, what input do we require?
Length and breadth.
Length and breadth.
Length and very good. We require what? Length and breadth. And what's the formula to find area? Length into breadth, right? Okay. Now, when the task is given, our first thing is we should check what input required to complete the task. Then we have to process the input. Then display the output to the user. Okay, that's the way we should start thinking while writing the programs. Now, let us go with the code. Refer program, I'll say rectangle.java. So whenever I say refer program rectangle.java, I'll be attaching this file along with the documents. Okay. Now wait to write the code. So we discussed Eclipse, right, yesterday? So we'll open Eclipse. So let us open Eclipse. So once we open Eclipse, it will ask you to choose the folder we want to store your programs. That we call workspace. We call it as workspace. So in our case, let us work with, we are working with what workspace? Java Online 17, Java Online 17, Java programs. Any folder, it's up to you. Then say launch. So it will take some small time to open Eclipse. So from the next class onwards, I'll make the Eclipse opened before the class so that we can save some time. So you can even close the previous programs. Just click on this cross mark. Now, whenever we want to create a new Java program, what we have to do, we have to right click on the project what we have created yesterday. Right click on the project and say new class. Okay. Say go with the name rectangle. And to run a Java program, we require main method. So make a check mark to main method. Say finish. Now it's going to create a class rectangle with main method inside. Now, in this code, we'll say int length equal to 10, int breadth equal to 5. So who is giving value to the variables here? Programmer. Now I want to accept the length and breadth value from user end. So when you want to take the value to length and breadth from user, we have to create object of scanner. We have to create object of which class? Scanner class, and connect to keyboard system.in. Now if you observe under scanner, we are getting red color line. It's an error. It's an error because scanner is a class belongs to java.util package. So whenever we want to use scanner class, what line of code we should write above class? Import above class java.util.scanner. Then only we can use scanner class. See, now the error will go off. Now how to take the length value now? Since length is integer, by using scanner class object s dot. So when you say dot, the list of methods will come here. Choose the method what is required. Press enter. Similar way s dot. There. Now find area. What's the formula to find area? Int area equal to length into breadth. Now display the value of area. How to display? System.out.println the value of area. That's it. Now save the file, run the code. You can click on this run button. Then sit in the console. In the console, the cursor is blinking here because it is waiting for your input. If I say 10 and press enter key, 10 will go and store into length variable. Again, the cursor is blinking again because it's waiting for input. Now, if you say 5, 5 will go and store into breadth variable, and the value of area it's printing as 50. So this data what you are providing here, this only we call runtime data entered by user. So to read that runtime data entered by user and store into Java variables, we use scanner class. Clear all of you the need of scanner class?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But is this program, whatever the program I have written, is this program user friendly?
No.
No, right? Because here, when you run the program, the cursor is simply blinking in console, complete blank screen. How user knows what data the user has to enter, right? User won't have idea what to enter here. Like example, if you go to ATM machine and the screen is totally blank and the cursor is blinking, how can we know what we should enter? Difficult, right? So there should be some message. Based on the message only, the user will fill the data, like enter PIN number, enter amount. Based on the data only, we can fill the data over there based on the message. So similar way, if I want, before I take length value, go with a message to the user, system.out.println, enter length value. Then, similar way, go with the message before taking breadth value, enter breadth value. Now while displaying output also, go with a proper message. The message should go in double quotes, area of rectangle equal to. So whatever we keep in double quotes, that will print as it is. And the joining symbol between message and variable in Java is plus symbol. How to join this message and variable in Java is using plus symbol, which we call concatenation symbol. Now save it, run the code. Now say it is asking enter length value, we'll say 20. Enter breadth value 10. Now we get the output area of rectangle 200. Now see, our code is now user friendly. So always remember, when you are accepting a value into the variable from user end, there should be some message to the user what value the user has to enter. Then only the program will become user friendly. Clear everyone about scanner class now?
Yes.
Right? Anyone having any questions up to here? Okay. Now let us take one more example to feel comfortable. Let us go with one more example code. Write a program to accept roll number, name, and marks in 3 subjects. Roll number, name, and marks in 3 subjects. Then find the total. How to find total? Adding up 3 marks and average. How to find average? Total by 3. By 3, 3 marks here. Then display roll number, name, total, and average. Let us go with the code. Refer program student.java. Open Eclipse. Whenever you want to create a new program, right click on the project and say new class. Go with the name student with main method inside. Then say finish. Then, now I want to expand this code. I want to expand this file. So if you just click here, double click on student.java, that will get expanded. Again, if you double click, it will get compressed. So now create object of scanner. So you can see here scanner is equal to new scanner. Connect to keyboard system.in. Then see we are getting error under scanner. So what you do, just to keep mouse pointer on this error. Just keep mouse pointer on error and you can see the fixes available. Import scanner from java.util. Just if you click here, the respective import will happen automatically. Then, now go with the messages to the user. Enter roll number. We'll say int. rule number equal to s dot next int. Based on the data type, call the methods. Enter name, will set string, collection of characters means string, name equal to s dot next or next line. Enter marks in 3 subjects. Then I'll go with the double. Mark 1 equal to s dot next double. So since we should read 3 marks, so read 3 marks here. Double mark 2 equal to s dot next double. Double mark 3 equal to s dot next double. So we have done with the input. We have accepted rule number, name and 3 marks. Now find total. Double total equal to mark 1 plus mark 2 plus mark 3. Now find average. Double average equal to total by 3. That's it. That completes our process. Now output. What we should display back to the user? Roll number, the value of roll number. So the joining symbol between message and variable is plus symbol. Then name, the value of name. Total marks. So whatever we want to keep in double quotes is up to us. Then the value of variable total. Average equal to the value of average. That's it. Now run the code. So it's asking, say, enter roll number. So we'll say 111. Enter name, some name. Enter 3 marks, 55, 66, 77. Then roll number 111, name Raj, total marks 198 and average 66. Clear everyone? Any questions? Then wherever programs are stored on your hard disk. So where we are working in my project folder. We are working in what? My project folder. So you have to just go to the folder where you have created this project. So in my system, in our case, we are working in which folder? D drive. I'm working in D drive 2021 the current year and our batch number Java Online 17. Then in that I have created a folder Java programs. So this is the place where your project is present. So when we open Eclipse now, we choose folder now. In that folder, your project will be created. Now if you open project, you can find bin. Under bin, you can see the doc class files. As you know, whenever we compile a Java program, we get doc class file. For every class, it's going to create a doc class file. So in bin, you can find doc class, and in src, you can find our Java files. So wherever Java files are located, in our project folder. So whichever the workspace you work, where you create project, in that project src folder, you can find our Java files. Okay. Now, let me go with the assignment to you today. Assignment 1. Write a program to find area of a circle. So in order to find area of a circle, what is the input do we require?
Radius.
Radius. And so what is the formula for area?
Pi r square.
Pi into radius, right? There. Now when you say pi, does Java knows what is the value of pi here? No. So what we have to do? You can take one double variable pi and you can give the value as 3.14. Okay. 3.14, or let me take one. Let me check here math.py. Yeah. So if you print the math.py also, we get the pi value. You can even get the pi value here. Okay. You can even use this. So, or you can simply go like this. Why to think of other classes now? Just to take one variable double pi 3.14 and you can write the formula area equal to pi into radius. So, second program. Write a program to accept item number, item name, rate and quantity. Now find price. The formula for price is rate into quantity will give price. Okay. I want to display item number, item name, and price. There. How to submit these assignments? Very simple. How to submit assignments? Very simple. Send the .java files. Like example, circle.java to my email ID. So to my email ID, send the .java files. Okay, just attach. So, and always remember, create a new compose message. Don't reply to my mails. So to the mails where I am sending documents and recordings, no, to that don't attach assignments and submit. You can do other things. You can ask for any other queries or anything, no problem. But related to assignment, always go with a new compose message. Always create a new compose message, and in the subject line, say assignment 1. In the subject line, say assignment 1, and just attach these two files, the .java files, and send it. That's it. Okay, and I've mentioned where your .java files are located. Just go to that folder, select that file to attach and send it. Okay, got it everyone? Any questions?
No.
Right. So let me stop here today, and tomorrow we'll be going with the new topic. So tomorrow I'll go with operators, and even we discuss if statement tomorrow. Okay, all right. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.